bardzo się cieszę, że mogę dzisiaj powitać na kolejnym spotkaniu z cyklu Elementy architektury jesień 2023 Samoorganizacja i na wykładzie Anastazji Ponomariowej. I teraz przejdę na angielski, bo wykład będzie po angielsku. Hello, good evening and warm welcome in Kraków. I would like to introduce our today guest, Anastasija Ponomariowa, who is an architect, a researcher at ETH in Zurich, and she was also involved in, and is still involved in the CO-HATY activity, which was recently nominated for EU Miss European Awards. And this is the initiative which we will talk more about today. Basically, with the outbreak and Russian aggression, the Ukrainian architects and activists started to organize shelters for internal refugees within Ukraine. So people who were fleeing east found temporary houses in the west, and perhaps even more than temporary. Probably Nastya will tell us more. So thank you very much. The title of the lecture is Designing in Urgency and Uncertainty. And this is more or less the definition of the times we are living now. So thank you, Nastya. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for coming today. I've been talking to many people about CO-HATY for I think, I don't know, more than 10 times, and I always struggle with this, how to transfer to you there's powerful energy that we are as a collective use, and to put it into architecture, into political action too. So, and this time you will be my first audience with whom I started this presentation with a video. It's quite, as you see, it's quite long, 30 minutes. And I just would like to start to focus on just 10 minutes. So, and you at least create an image of people and their characters and their energy.
And a new call would start.
Hello, Olesha.
As one of the member, but the team
Good morning. My name is Marina. You called me recently about the settlement.
Is the for a second, I would explain why what is this sound? This is not their original voices of the character. It's basically their artificial intelligent clone voices generated on a platform based on Ukrainian original voices transcript. The voices, the sounds very close to the original timbre of the character, which is good. I hope you will love it. There is some problems with overlapping their lips movement and the voice, because the IE not perfect now. And it's good, because if it is, it would be super scary. Super scary already, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, but anyway, I try to take advantage from this technology that helped me really to build more connection between our group, which based in Ukraine, work at Ukraine and the international community. So maybe start from this 10 minutes, and then we'll continue with the presentation and discussion.
Information still relevant to you? Yes, there is a room for 3 people. If you are interested, you can come here now. Yeah, I'll come down to the door and meet you. Good morning. Are you still without your things? When are you planning to come? Tomorrow, right? Yes, we have mattresses and blankets.
So here are the curtains with hooks. Additionally, we have more curtains and mattresses. We also have pillows now. After washing the windows, you can hang the curtains and place the mattresses.
I work with internally displaced persons, IDPs, on a daily basis, and I hear about the challenges they face in their lives. These are individuals who have lost their homes and have no place to return to. Many of them have also lost their families. It is a difficult task to work with people in such circumstances, and it is emotionally challenging to listen to their stories of hardship every day. Physically, when we were volunteering at the construction sites, we were, let's say, not so physically active before. Everyone was doing something else before. And when we came from the very first days and started carrying bags of garbage on our backs, we were, of course, so stiff. Oh, it happened. This team spirit, it worked so well, because sometimes you would come home and be like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going tomorrow. I'm going to take tomorrow off. I'm not going to go. And then you wake up in the morning and think, damn, my people are there. They're scraping wool today and I'm not coming.
You know, I've been working all my life for my own enrichment. I mean, I was making interiors, earning a penny, traveling somewhere, going somewhere. Here is a complete large-scale invasion. You realize that no one wants your design now. What can I do? I can make housing. For whom? For the EDPs. And this thing, this job, I really needed it because I was calming down. I mean, for the first week I was just on my phone, day and night, reading the news. And it goes on like that for a week. You realize, man, you're just sitting in one place and you're not useful at all. And it somehow knows that it was just like therapy for us. We needed it.
We met at a time when it was very difficult. And it was especially hard for those who had moved, and I didn't think about it that way. Later, we were at the Tbilisi Architectural Biennale, and I realized that there are a number of factions that allow you to go through trauma. There might be gardening, dancing, and in CO-HATY, we come through trauma by refurbishing abandoned buildings. So at some moments, we are really, at least 150 people every day working together. Але для нас це був ремонт. Тобто ми реально в якийсь момент там було по 50 людей кожен день, які просто We scraped and painted the walls so intensively. There was so much different energy in this, mostly anger, well, and trauma. And maybe I'm remembering how I scraped, I'm just now, yeah, my mind is kind of taking away a little bit. I mean, it was really some kind of group therapy, this refurbishment, and you also feel useful. You realize that you are doing something. You keep your hands and head busy. Yes, we seem to be building housing, but in fact we are helping with the evacuation there now. We are creating a community. We are providing for all the physical and mental needs, education for children. That is, we are taking care of these people. And it's a little bit more than just creating a home. It's really about transforming their lives. And this is often what this treatment, this gathering, this care is about. I mean, it's about somehow unlocking some potential.
I know that it will definitely be different because we are all people who have changed a lot. We have all become different and we have reassessed and rethought a lot of things. And I really want it to be worthwhile to see how many innocent deaths and how much of this is happening. If it weren't all for nothing. We believe in a brighter future. We believe that there will be truth, that there will be some kind of justice, and that peace will be the first thing. Something like that.
We had one where we were scratching walls or twisting cardboard, and I walked in and Andriy was always wearing headphones. I said, Andriy, what are you doing? Can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm saying? And he's like, sorry, I'm at a lecture. I was like, what do you mean? The man was actually studying at the university while we were building.
I am studying now too.
It was a shock for me that we were given housing for free. If I was treated like that, then I have to give this goodness back so that it does not end.
Do you have a vision for the future of this social housing? We are now showing that it is possible.
I was once asked by an organization to explain and tell how MetaLab works, how this team works, how CO-HATY works, and I couldn't explain it because I started by saying that we respect each other very much, and we have a very common good vibe, I think, and everyone is very cool.
We left Dnipro on February 24th and never returned. To be honest, it's been quite a wild experience for me, as I am someone who prefers to stay at home. It has made me rethink the importance of material possessions and the sense of belonging that comes from being surrounded by family and friends. Despite this, we approach everything we do with an open heart. I strongly believe that our main motivation is people and the desire to help others.
It's so nice to see you just being there for people. And we all grow, we all change, we all learn something. And I see how each of us has become better this year in various aspects.
I just never wanted to move from Donetsk. When I was at school, I thought I would live there.
What do you think makes people stay there?
In danger? I know a lot of people who stay because of... These are circumstances that are very objective in terms of taking care of relatives, elders. A lot of people stay there simply because they have housing there. Well, they can't afford it, especially people in the long-occupied territories. They don't understand this thing that there are a bunch of volunteers now and we will do something. They don't have that kind of trust because they haven't seen it, unfortunately. This thing that we are creating a kind of communities here, all this, it also shows people that they can join something else. Come here, and not only is there a place to live, but the secure space for collective work. Some company, you can volunteer with us, you can get to know us, we will communicate with you, we will make a garden for you here. There is a place for you here. Please don't be where it is not safe.
And what Americans are seeing is an incredible tenacity and resilience and bravery of the Ukrainian people, and a spirit that has not been broken despite insane bombardments and shelling and missile strikes from the Russians. And I've experienced some of that myself just in the limited time I've been here over the last year. And what I see is a non-stop resilience and strength by the Ukrainians, and I don't see that going away anytime soon. And the respect that I think that's earned Ukrainians in the eyes of the American people and the Europeans as well is something that's never going to go away.
I am in contact with many IDPs. They call me every day and they think that our shelters are VIP shelters.
So you probably heard many words not familiar for you, but we will discover what is this, what behind these titles. But I really hope that you realize that there is a diverse group of people, like regarding geography, backgrounds, professional interest, age. People are now working at CO-HATY, the title of the project, from Donetsk, east part of Ukraine, central parts of Ukraine, west, many cities and ages. But it's important to mention that it started as an initiative of architects with a certain professional vision how to deal with emergency, how to help people, but also how to think about something which are taught to think, yeah, more about design, aesthetic things, and sustainable ideas. I was the one of these architects fleeing from Kiev to western parts of Ukraine with my family, and together with NGO MetaLab, that's the title of organization that now runs CO-HATY, we did a 1-week research, traveling from shelter to shelter in Iwano-Frankiwsku, talking to community manager and to people. Also, we at that moment we had some experience in temporary transformation, and also a little bit with I work with internally refugee or IDPs. You've heard many times this abbreviation. So we really kind of mobilized and did a very speed research. Methodology was quite easy. And we came up with the idea, I would explain you, that leads to this more or less sustainable collective. You probably also mentioned that one girl's talking about this problem of making decision to relocate, yeah, for the relocation, to flee. People didn't get information, and many more. For architect, that's probably mean nothing. Like how to you convince people? Yeah, we are not evacuation team. Yeah, like the team that work with evacuation. But as an architect, we were. Me and my colleagues who was architects, so we know that there is a shortage of so-called social houses or affordable houses or spaces to stay. Like basically the country, according to the official strata, had hundreds beds for not expensive, even like for free, yeah, the space is for free. And at the same time, that's 94% of the housing stock is private. So it's not an asset for relocation, yeah, reappropriation. It just blocked a resource that it's either no states or architect, international prayer cannot lock. It's just we are in in a world like we really need to respect private property that we agreed on. So this context where you don't have the space for people to stay, when you have millions of people fleeing, and you have a lot of people who don't want to flee because they know that there is no space. It's quite difficult. I mean, it's quite, it could be very, the moment when you can just freeze, you know, because that's the problem is so huge, I don't want to do anything. That's too much. And we even understand that this like availability of house, the knowledge that it's there's some space wait for you is probably the second argument for people to make the decision to escape from the siege or evacuation. Probably the first is relocation, safe relocation, access to evacuation vehicle, but this knowledge and access to the house is the second most important. So basically we know that, and we found the first abandoned building and started to transform it without any plan, no budget almost. Yeah. As an architect, we saw that, okay, we need to do something very fast, very rapid, but we know very well there's a lot of stories about these faked shelters, yeah, that's not the good space for integration, and that looks very bad in a certain period of time. So we didn't want to repeat this template, this pattern that are very, yeah, we know about that. We can read a lot of that. So we were trying to really look at the model that we can enable this integration processes and also, yeah, some sustainable solution. And yeah, we just saw that, okay, maybe the space refurbishment, like basically the transformation of abandoned places could be the instrument for that. We just really need to highlight that this is not just a way to create a space, it's something more. For instance, maybe I will explain with the slides. So this is our pilot we found at the end of the March last year. That belongs to, it's abandoned dormitory. It used to be abandoned for around 8 years. It belongs to State University. And when we first found it, we already met 2 teachers from the university that were trying to scrape the walls and clean the first floor. They are both not architects, neither designers, engineers, but they really wanted to do something. And they were really happy to meet us with our expertise. And together we started to our first, we call it pilot refurbishment. The result you can see on the picture from the left. We didn't do like a lot. We cleaned the space, we repair electricity, we add some furniture, carpenter, but we also create a lot of communal space. But what is invisible in the picture, that we open the process for any volunteers who wants to help. And host community, people from the city where this building is, came, IDPs came, they met each other, they started to communicate, they started to talk to each other. So it was a very collective, collective transformation and atmosphere of collective effort, very open. We as an architect, of course, like trying to keep our eyes on some very important stuff, and electricity was a responsibility of only specialists, as fire system, of course, but many solutions were quite spontaneous and participatory. After this successful project, municipality pay attention on us, and especially NGO MetaLab that is local, so they already knew about MetaLab, but probably they didn't see them as a so strong developers, yeah, that were able to allocate resources, gather people, design, and even implement. And after that pilot, they suggested new vacant buildings because they, again, look at us differently, but they also, at that moment, but I think it's still accurate, relevant for today, they're responsible for hosting IDPs. This is one of the municipalities' responsibility now that came from state, so state not really care that much, they just delegate this responsibility to IDPs. And Iwano-Frankiwsku now hosts, as I read today, 40,000 IDPs, and it's a city with 300 people. So it's like, I think it's close to Warsaw, yeah, like 10% of the Ukrainians now living in Warsaw. That's, you might, if you've been, I don't know what the data for Krakow, but I know that Warsaw is quite, yeah, has a lot of Ukrainians. So Iwano-Frankiwsku also hosted a lot, and municipalities, of course, are crazy. They don't have resources. They didn't have this expertise. But what they do have sometimes nice abandoned building. They can just, yeah, let us to refurbish and to rule. And I think that's the second location we've got was quite a good synergy. That's really like this buzzword synergy came to reality. And you saw from the movie, in the movie you saw some element like this space a lot. Yeah, I think I'm trying to say that refurbishment is more like architectural spatial instrument, but the war is the context where you can really empower community, yeah, this collective efforts in a way, like in a way you are able to do that, because I really believe that crisis is a really opportunity for the really to support this mutual aid and collective effort and solidarity, something like that. And for us, for people, for me, I mean, I'm trying to also talk and write about the emergent practices in Ukraine, and I'm trying to shift the focus from war is opportunity to like mutual aid is opportunity. War is not opportunities. It shouldn't happen. It's a hell. I mean, but the mutual aid that is a concept. Yeah, that's of course it was present in Ukraine, but now it's stronger, and we need to look at this. We are trying to communicate our achievements by, not just through the video, which is sometimes more easy way to communicate this collective energy, but we also try to share some more like intangible, but results we can formulate in a statement. That so what we're actually doing with the community. I mean, it's okay, not a community very often, but a group of people that are active and gathered around the idea to create a space. We design with them, not necessarily house, because it's a very, we are working in a very different speed that it was before. But we can design the garden, for instance, with them. So in order to show this instrument, to present this instrument, so we are not trying to be crazy about the methodology of participation, and like we understand that is that extraordinary moment, but it's also not an excuse to not do the participatory method. It's all, and we successfully did a workshop for the garden, just suggesting people to, it was actually the group that selected this collage methods is the best for them, that suits that to them to represent their ideas, but we actually suggested many instruments for that. And it was a moment when people really started to trust us as a team, because we asked them, we spent 2 days with them talking about the space, and we explained why it's not possible to have a participatory process for the space, for internal space itself. We do a lot of, been doing a lot of community dinner gathering with the volunteers. For them, it's super important to feel connection to the core team, and it's also a good moment for sharing stories about the past life. This is the way MetaLab actually collected, recruited some of the current employees of NGO, when during this dinner they discovered that some are very good community manager or communication manager or something else, or lawyers. 5 people from the group of volunteers now team members sharing responsibility with MetaLab and also getting some salary. So we actually, what we did through this refurbishment, we empower people with new skills, but we also provide the opportunity for them to continue to work with their professional profiles. Yeah, I think. I think I really need to tell you what the CO-HATY means, because this is also, it's also the title very much tell about our values and interests. So it's a kochać, it's kochać, and kochanie is miłość. Yeah. So, and we really want to promote the idea with this title of collective house, collective ownership, collective responsibility in Ukraine, which is now needed. It's very many people now experiencing this more like collective way of life. Sometimes it's accidental collective. I mean, like people didn't want to be collective. They become a. They just started to live together. Yeah, like whole family, many generation. But sometimes, in some cases, it leads to a very positive outcomes. Like people didn't know that they would live together, and it was nice. And it turned out to be true. We, as an architect, of course, wanted to do a beautiful thing, beautiful shelters. And our first vision of this effort was that we would probably do it for ourselves, like to not to be published in Arch Daily, but just to be a little bit satisfied as a professionals. Yeah, but after our I think maybe after the first one, like when the residents started to leave and they again shared the experience, as you remember the last girl Marina told, that people think that it's VIP shelters, and it's one of the reasons they think so, that they see some aesthetic difference compared to like this very sterile, white, clean, conventional space for security, for sheltering. And this is one of our residents, ladies that really like to go to secondhand every weekend, and they try to be fashionable, and this is basically their daily look. And one of the photographers, Stefan Lipovsky, he decided to depict it. So it's there are some bunch of nice photo shootings with this residents of CO-HATY. So yeah, I think that's quite arguable and interesting discussion to talk about aesthetics and how what we can achieve with a limited budget and a limited resources at a time. But what is definitely, I think, our success that we're really able to do with the limited resources, at least some pleasing environment, like, but just simply carefully selecting colors, like spending a little bit more time on selecting colors and being more picky, not taking everything which is available in building a supermarket. I think the color gives a lot of already, and selecting locations, being careful with what exists in the building, trying to, I don't know, X-ray its quality, which is probably hidden by layers of Soviet, post-Soviet usages. We also consider beauty as a like there's ability to enjoy the nature, and many our locations are really close to nature, and this is also our achievement. So because we select this location, talking to municipalities and other stakeholders, I mean, we didn't do any of the location we didn't visit or didn't like, and our assessment includes this criteria, the proximity to the nature. This is one of the location with a wild garden that used to be a kindergarten, but now it's I don't know, jungle, yeah, and but it's very cool to have a big window which with a green on the background. It's really calm you down, and moreover, it's a space for gardening, yeah, for some action, especially for people who really likes gardening, yeah, like elderly people or like some crazy gardeners, young gardeners, yeah. I think this is really, this idea connects and very close to notions of home that we are sharing. You also maybe mentioned that some of the characters in the movie said that they had changed their attitudes and the vision of the home as a space they belong to. So they're more like the home, the space where families are, community, that is not necessarily the notion of like physicality, but rather than something which we could consider a soft element of space or social layers of space and many more. For architect, nevertheless, home is obviously physical construction, but I think our contribution to changing this like more like conventional idea of home as a physical space, yeah, is the way we construct it. Yeah, we construct it by ourselves. We hire just specialists where it's necessary, where we understand that our knowledge is really limited. But if we can do it ourselves, we can do it. We do it, and we allow volunteers and not skilled people to really to test themselves. Maybe they would become a better scrapers, which is not difficult. You can be a good scrapers in half of the day. Yeah, but the home is an action space. I think this is one of the value we share in the community. It helps you to empower yourself. Yeah, possess the trauma. Girl said that it's when you scrap, you help your anger to go out with this physical action, and also it's a participatory process of design that's very connected to also the vernacular tradition to construct the houses together with a carpenter, with a specialist, but always with somebody from your neighborhood, from your village. Yeah, I think this has really increased the sense of belonging. It's therapeutical, it's democratical, and it's cost-effective. So there are many, I think, positive aspects in this approach, which is architect community. Yeah, and the architect, actually, the role of the architect in this idea is more about the community builder, sort of dirigeur, director of the orchestra, yeah, not necessarily the designer sitting, not necessarily, it's even opposite, yeah. Maybe, and sustainability, for sure, so we, from the very beginning, when we realized that there's refurbishment is a good tool, good approach to diminish the CO emission. Yeah, you probably heard that this construction field and architecture is one of the leading industry that produce a lot of CO. And so we have to do something with that. And it's especially a big case in Switzerland. They produce the CO every day, demolishing, constructing. It's their modus operandi. They don't know what to do with the reuse. And they also need to diminish this emission somehow. And it's also a very well-known fact that if you refurbish, you already diminish 30% of your potential construction emission scope. Yeah. But the refurbishment can go even further. Yeah. So the refurbishing building envelope, it's very good, but we can also reuse elements, especially in the context where we have scarcity of these elements. I don't know if you attend this lecture of Okna. Yeah, that's fantastic project. I do really appreciate their persistence. They just, yeah, year and a half they work with windows, and that's super. Yeah, I think this is yeah, that's amazing work that says a lot about the team, but also about the demand. Yeah, that it's very high. But nevertheless, we need also doors, for instance. And actually, we together with this group of Okna, Petro and Zofia and Michał, we did a workshop at ETH together with the students. It was a very short workshop where we designed all doors and especially their adjustment to the door opening, which is it's a quite challenge for architect and for designer, for the carpenter. Yeah, in like more conventional design, this is supposed to be the work for very specific carpenter. Even not every carpenter do this work. That's, I don't know. I don't know what's in Poland, but in Ukraine, if you ask carpenter, do the frame and install the door, that no, ask the door installer. Yeah, that's, no, this makes sense, but in a situation where we are now, we are lacking of door panels, we are dealing a lot with very different frames, not necessarily good quality. We are also looking for some solution that gives a sense of, I don't know, something like provide some additional value to the portal, yeah, because this is something why I like the door and thinking about the adjustment, because this is a border between private space and communal in a context where this border is super important. Like imagine you have a very small private space and you have a lot of communal space, oftenly busy, occupied with people, and you need your privacy. And what I experience and living in Wohngemeinschaft, it's also shared apartment in Zurich, and what I've also mentioned from our residents' experience, that they are willing to communicate with others and use the communal spaces only if they have a private space, only if they have privacy. If they don't have privacy, they don't want any communication to happen. And for me, the door becomes sort of this portal between private and communal. And together with Berda and Okna, we decided to really focus on that, at least on this more like theoretical and yeah, like speculative, conceptual level. Probably it will be realized. What we are doing now, we just buy new doors and install them. Because what we find in this abandoned location are not very good quality, not acoustically, aesthetically, so there is no security security conditions are very bad too. So very often we buy the door. But yeah, again, I challenge myself to think about outside the boxes and bring some, yeah, senses or new ideas to the shelter. Reusing the old doors, which are actually not difficult to find, because everybody is scared of this challenge, like adjusting the door panel to some new location. So it's not, so like to be, yeah, that's not a secret, but yeah, just information that there are so many like salvage doors and storages, and they are storage very well and transport very well. So it's like it makes sense to work on this challenge. What I did in ATH, I designed after this workshop more precisely the prototype that where the frame becomes also a storage for boxes. I will explain why boxes is important, but this is, for this moment, it's important to say that this new frames is really enable this adjustment to different door opening, and also it enables yeah, to reuse some beautiful doors with some history, and probably even to use the door from the house people lost. That just very probably not easy to realize, but theoretically it's possible. Sometimes it's even possible to find a solution to combine old and new. Like in this case, it's very like 100 years old hinges that they were crafted using even these crafted nails, which is super cool. So it's really, I mean, it would be really sad to throw this away, yeah, but it's very difficult actually to adjust to the door or to the wooden element, but it's possible because if you see it's new, yeah, it's new, and yeah, I was very happy when I found them connecting to each other. Yeah, so I didn't, but yeah, I mean, as a plan B, like there is also an opportunity to produce the new one, design in a metal workshop. Yeah, it's possible, but it's what I'm trying to say, that it's even possible to find in the market. So this is one of our design sketch, which shows that this storage space can be even scaled up. The storage space are in huge demand, of course. So imagine this is the private space and this is a corridor. And if the corridor is wide enough, which in our cases are very often, because we are refurbishing kindergarten, school facilities that usually have wide corridors. So we can even use this space to increase the private space, which are very often very small. And to adjust the door, so we can really do a lot of create a lot of values for people, for resident. So door is in this case not just a pragmatical portal, dividing the space. It's opportunity also to storage what people want to storage. And the few words about the boxes, that people in Ukraine often keep the post boxes with them because they think that they will probably return very soon. And for some of them, the act of unpacking could be connected to the decision to settle down and start over the life, and they prefer postpone this decision. And in this case, we can really storage these boxes because these dimensions are determined by the modular of the post boxes, and says we are storing what is important for you, something like that. I mean, the designers, the architects really have this instrument to change the focus from what they imagine, that could be cool, but to the point where they carefully look at the life and the feelings their residents are experiencing, and trying to create a space, a design that fits to their needs and experience. I think this is something that I would really love to see more in so-called humanitarian project or volunteering work, where architects start just from the vision, not really understanding what's the real life of residencies. Yes, I think I really need to add some sort of warning, statement about the collective project, that it's not just fun and a lot of energy, vibe, power. It's very difficult because we are all human beings with all our images and vision about whatever, the color, the space arrangement, the time, limitation of time that people can, many things. And of course, especially it's very true for architects, this picture, when architects very often see their participatory design is very, very planned, very well organized, and something that you can really coordinate. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Architects imagine this. But it's happened very often like this, that they are just, if they really want to control, they appear in a situation like this girl, being alone on this playground. I think what CO-HATY taught me, because I worked a lot in a participatory design, as a more mediators for many years, but even I think 8 years before CO-HATY, but CO-HATY really taught me even more to really, how to say, to trust people, do not control their actions, and really find the niche that you just, like, now this is a fire protection, we are not able to delegate it to someone who is not unskilled, or this is the structural element, do not keep it. And leave the process a little bit open and flexible, because people want to experiment, people want to feel that they're in a trustful relationship. I think this is something I think I've never been good enough in that, so this is something I would really, how to say, stretch all my life. It's one of the, what I'm trying to say, that is one of the most difficult parts of the collective work, is the social skills, which includes this sociological leadership, when you can define the responsible area, but also you can let the process be flexible and active, and many others. So that's something I really want to share with you too. Yeah, but also participatory design and process is a lot of fun and beauty. We are doing this, we did with the community. The information about the project is quite, I think, decent, so we are trying to be very visible. For us, it's important to share our resilience as a professional, but also our project, which is, I think, could be a good inspiration for architects, but also for developers, I hope. And I think, yeah, we have 3 minutes more for the presentation, and then we will start, but we can start now with questions, comments, thoughts. Yeah.
Thank you, Nastya. Thanks. Perhaps I will start with a question about the super skills of Ukrainians, because I think we Poles consider ourselves quite good in bottom-up movement and organizing ourselves, but I think that you Ukrainians are like a level above. But I would like to ask you, maybe perhaps somehow, how much is this, the part of it really coming from necessity and not being able to depend on institutions, and how do you think maybe it can change? Because I think certainly the division between the authorities and the people probably changed in such a dramatic condition. I'm not sure if I was clear, but I can give you this one.
I think that's, I said already that the solidarity really can flourish within the war and other conflict. So, and I think what we as a Ukrainians have been before the war, I think that could be the same as where you are now. That's we did a lot of participatory project, but it never been that successful as CO-HATY. Because people tend to stay together. They tend to, to focus on some more like, humanistic project. You remember the guy Nazar said that he works as an architect on focusing only on commercial projects before. I think that is something I would like to say, that do not really kind of romanticize Ukrainian capacity to be a great participatory designer. That's the result of the complicated situation where people really want to be together. And regarding the question about the municipality, that's the image I have is not very good. So for the next reason, so municipality are overwhelmed already. they are lacking of resources, state money, martial law, and when there will be no need, I think it could be easily change the situation. I mean, that the good cooperation and the trust between municipality and NGO. And what we are now thinking, we started to think about creating some company and to really find a sustainable model for non-profit house where municipality would just provide us something from on the starting point, and then we will like run the situation. Probably it would be their best to really give this opportunity for shared householders to rule the space, to run the space. Because I think this is idea to rent something from municipality and rely on their trust. I think even the contract is not, there's something I would want to achieve. Yeah, that's quite a very rough idea. We need to talk about that. Soon there will be a very nice forum organized by and initiated by New Housing Policy. That's the title is quite straightforward. We need the new housing policy. So yeah, this will happen soon and I will join it, and hopefully we will discuss how we can really establish this shared holders typology in Ukraine. It's not exist.
So we need good lawyers.
Yes.
Not enough. Oh, okay.
Good that are good enough in their knowledge, but also flexible.
Okay. Perhaps somebody else would like a question? To ask a question or comment?
Thank you. So when you refurbish a building and people move in, who runs the building then? Who pays for the electricity, for heating, for all that stuff? And is this responsibility then on the municipality, or how do you run it?
That's a good question, because to design the building is not enough, to construct a building is still not enough. Yeah, how to maintain the building? That's the main question. CO-HATY has 7 buildings, so that's 6 of them municipality assets. NGO is one of the member of 3-side contract, responsible on refurbishment, residents responsible on being a good resident and prove that they are internally displaced. Municipality pay utilities. Municipality, I think they have a reimbursement from the state if they can claim that this is a space for internally displaced people with no corruption. So it works more or less good. The problem that we, as an emergent developing company, we are not able to retrofit the buildings in a way that would help us to diminish the energy some energy use, and the cost for utilities. So Ukraine are really we use a lot of energy to heat our buildings, maybe 2 times more than in average European building. So we really try to change this situation. Could be also one of our tasks for CO-HATY to improve. One of our buildings has a very unique situation because it's private property, and the space where residents pay rent. NGO community has a role as a community manager, signed the contract with all of the residents, and transparently informed about the expenses, monthly expenses, and people understand that they just pay for these expenses. So, if I'm not mistaken, the rent The monthly rent, something around 2,000 per month per room, which 2,000 hryvnias. Zloty. Four, yeah, I think it could be 4 times, yeah, 1 to 4 difference. 250 zlotys per month per room in a private property, and this money goes to their autonomous heating system we designed, Metal Lab designed, and also maintenance, basic maintenance, and also I think it also includes the manager's work, the community manager, and people pay it. So that's, I mean, this is, of course, for them it's a decent amount of money. People are living in the shelters. They're like economically vulnerable, but they got also received this state support, which is very close to this amount. So that's if they have some extra in addition to this support. So all in all, this is not very good, not sustainable. Not the first and the second, not very sustainable, because we rent a private property for just 5 years. That's more or less connect to the investment of us to the building, and it's not. It does not allow us to really create a more long-term economical. Yeah, but this is also a big step from the point where we found ourselves after this full-scale invasion, and what we are now trying to do to say to municipalities and state agents, look, we did the first step, but we need to move forward. Yeah.
One more question is it like this that those refurbished flats are for like okay, there is a family coming or people coming into this house. Are they supposed to stay there for a long time, start living in the city? Or is it more like temporary? They are supposed to find another way, another place somewhere, sometime, and another family can come in to shelter there?
I really wanted to name this presentation Design for Urgency and Uncertainty. And because what is very true about the Ukrainian forced displacement, that there are many people traveling back and forth. There is a term of repeated displacement, and there is like many other terms that explain this sort of like phenomena. People could stay months, a year, and they want to return, or they, I mean, the situation is so uncertain, and basically they have rights to move out, yeah. And this creates a lot of problem for community manager. It's like a hotel, you know. The shelter sometimes it's like a hotel. It's difficult, but this is what is happening in Ukraine now. The situation is very dynamic, very vibrant. So, and yeah, it's very difficult to deal with that, actually, with this uncertainty. And the stories about the boxes was just one of their, like, and like my intention to tell this story. So people really live with the boxes in a room. Not everyone, but most of them. Boxes they use because very often they use the post company to get their stuff, asking their friends and relatives that are staying in the house they left, like roommates or neighbors, to send them. And the company is working very good. So it's quite prosperous. Nova Pošta, maybe you also have it now in Poland. I saw like you have a Nova Pošta. It's maybe has another title. So it's quite working good. Nevertheless, there are, and it's all created this sort of situation when people really have a lot of boxes. Actually, I did it too. I mean, I used it, and there is a good loyalty for individual transferring. Like if I would be there's one person who sent the box and who received it, this company make a discount. So I have my boxes in Iwano-Frankiwsku. I want to have them in Kyiv. In Iwano-Frankiwsku, I go to Nova Poshta, send them, and in Kyiv I get it with 50% discount if it's the one person. So it's really like whole situation about with this uncertainty really, yeah, say something. And for designers, it's also, yeah, for me it was really big inspirational moment to create this shelf with this size that determines by the post boxes. Yeah, I mean, I cannot answer your question more sharply because this is uncertainty. And you just really need to take it. I mean, you cannot control as a community manager or a designer, just to some extent. You just can do something, but not really respond to it.
Yeah, thank you so much for the lecture. It was, yeah, really interesting to hear about this project. And to me, it was really, really like fascinating to see all of the super clever solutions that you used, both in terms of the organization of the refurbishment project, as well as the organization of like the entire like community and how to run it and how to like create this space for kind of like self-organized control of like this entire initiative and all of that. And it was like really fascinating to me that you kind of managed to do this in time of this like extreme uncertainty and, you know, just use all of the old materials and like refurbish them, like create clever solutions to actually adjust some things to stuff that does not like connect together in like normal situation. And yeah, it's like interesting that, for example, people who are not in this uncertainty moment and extreme urgency, they're trying to do the same thing, but they like extremely fail to do that. And yeah, it's interesting that like sometimes it's even like you think about it, like, is it harder or is it easier? And they, I don't know, somehow they failed to do something which is like more efficient because, I don't know, the other way is in some way easier, right? And yeah, it's like really interesting and like inspiring to me that you kind of reformulate it as well the way you kind of practiced before. And I'm also wondering how much of the things that you, for example, tried to introduce to your own work before when you were doing the participation projects with the communities before everything happened. How much of the stuff that you tried to do before you kind of managed to employ the solutions in this project, for example? Like how much this project kind of reformulated the way you worked before?
I think the most valuable things I took from my previous practice was people, like the experts I worked with. I mean, like this is social capital, the network, the warm contact. That really, like, again, I feel myself as a rebel, as like outsider, yeah, of architectural business and architectural practice. And I worked a lot with a sociologist, geographer, anthropologist, and many others. And during this CO-HATY project, suddenly all of this network and this expertise become crucial. The guy I invited to facilitate community workshop was the guy I worked before, and we knew each other. And he traveled from Kyiv to Iwano-Frankiwsku for 2 days of workshop. And with the scarcity of resources, he lives in my apartment. Just I'm sharing this story in detail to understand you how it's important to have this social capital before you start this project, because in some point you really have to host this person, because you don't have enough resources, but you really want to have this community workshop, yeah? And you've never invite someone you don't know and no, but I mean, you can do it, but it would make some problems, yeah. Yeah, but this has happened, and I think NGO MetaLab also are scaled up dramatically. I think in the movie was some data, facts about their capacity. 8 people before the full-scale invasion, I have 20, and most of the people are either friends or internally displaced people. So the friends came to MetaLab because they lost their conventional job, and MetaLab got grants. So, and they become from outsiders become like most desirable employee. No, that's true. Nazar didn't work with them, like this guys with piercing, and now he's a very great, like important team member of MetaLab. Of course, we implemented some of their practice too, but I think the most important thing that it's just a people relation, contact, and also international. International community support us from the very beginning, just with the good words, likes, comment. Yeah, sometimes help us to do not stop. Of course, we are quite resilient because it's a big group of people. It's very difficult to have a moment of regrets, shared moments of regret. So it's just go from one person to another, and the person who is more in a good mood supports those who are not in good. But there is also a moment when the whole group are experiencing a moment of despair. Yeah, and this situation, international community supports by asking us to give a lecture, apply for the grant, or with sending windows, by sending windows, and you understand that you're doing something which is meaningful for the whole community in the world, not just for internally displaced people, and so people.
I will maybe ask a question. Can you tell us something about ongoing projects and ongoing refurbishments? Because you said something about 7 buildings. All of them are like finished, or are you like doing something right now?
Yeah, MetaLab finished all of them. And what is MetaLab is looking for now is the abandoned building that able us to start this more long-term project. So it's an assessment phase now, where like different locations and stakeholders are now under radar, and UN Habitat, they try to help a lot with that. They're much more interested in this more like long-term non-profits shared holders house. And MetaLab also do a lot now, experiment with sustainable material. Yeah, I think especially with energy efficient, yeah, that's what I shared with you, our recent challenge. We need to diminish the expenses for utilities, especially this winter. Yeah, I mean, a lot of actually ideas and challenges.
So it's like a lot of administrative innovations, like the models that haven't been discovered yet. Yes. So
organizational, yes. I think I'm not really sure that we do some like design innovation, to be honest. No, maybe this door. thing. Like, I mean, that's not, I did the research in ETH about the door frames and installation, and like in this specific way, then you just consider the portal as a frame, especially in Swiss. That's like, no, it's too punky. Yeah, but I think what is actually Okna also trying to do this interesting design solution for this problem of adjustment, of reuse, and also the way they look at the reuse. So I think this could be a beginning of some nice design innovations.
Yeah, thank you. Because I'm just thinking about model of co-housing in a world of private ownership. I mean, it's, as you said at the beginning, in Poland is quite similar, that we have a lot of private assets. So how to convince municipality that we need co-housing, co-whatever. So, yeah.
You know, I live in here in Zurich, which is one of the leader in the world by number of rented house. I can mistake, but definitely after this, more than 70% of the house in stock is rented. So it's insane, yeah, especially for Ukraine, where we have 5. And I'm aware about this challenge, like convincing municipality, changing the urban policy, housing policy and stuff like that. But I think what we are good at and what we also are not willing to miss, this is the challenge: how to gather people, how make from the group people, how to create a community and then shared holders community. That's also a biggest challenge. And I think because shared holders, it means that nobody will own the flat, yeah? And I think this is also difficult and underestimated.
Like the change of thinking, like
to share
people's minds. Yeah.
Especially in a post-Soviet environment where people really want to have at least something. I don't know, maybe we would design like the share flat where is like a small tiny private space inside, just the one. This is my private bathroom. Nobody can use it. That's, yeah, I'm a little bit, it's, yeah, not serious, I'm not serious. But yeah, I think instead of focusing on this challenge with other stakeholders, we need to focus on our more proximity channel, how to deal with the community. And I think if we will be empowered enough and strong enough, I think stakeholders will just agree.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen. You said amen?
Yes.
Cool. Amen. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, more.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about aesthetics and if they stay for longer, because you use superbly composed photographs with nice light to show all the quality that those renovated spaces have. And in most cases, you've shown spaces where there was furniture, which was very simple, made of fresh timber, like planed and unpainted, and even very simple and maybe a bit Japanese in well, maybe not in craftsmanship, but in style of this simple lines. Do people stay with this furniture? Do they like it for longer? Because I instantly recognize it's like something I would like to be in as a hostel, for instance. Like this would be a very nice hostel, but do people like it? Because they are probably coming from different sort of interiors, and do they instantly start to change when they settle in, or they leave your aesthetics in those places?
I would live there if it wouldn't be my work. I mean, this, but for I mean, this is not a house. We are doing a shared space for mid-term stay. We will not try to, like, we are not daring calling this house. And I think if you're coming back to this notion of house, which is a space for action, yeah, I think people deserve to, Ukrainians deserve to really, to contribute at least, co-design their spaces. So, and in fact, they are not really much intervening this final stage, design solution. Yeah, they, no, I mean, like this, we design furniture, we select the colors as an architect. So, anyway, they like it as a midterm space for them, and we understood it because we use these instruments as a showroom. We call it showroom. So during the construction phase, we tried to finish one room to, like, as a showroom, and people come and they, oh, we like it. Not everybody like it because the taste is something very, very subjective, but most of the people like it, and it's motivate them to come and volunteer or sign the contract or make a decision to relocate. And I also, in addition, I also did an interview for my door project, and they mostly shared very, like, practical concerns, like not enough space for storage, some problems with acoustics, they hear each other, some challenges with the smell in the kitchen, because kitchen is also communal. It's like, all in all, you know, residents are, they're very practical people, you know, in this situation. And they never complain about the color or the curtains we select for them. Or I did interview, not very accurate, I don't know. Maybe I'm not able to hire a professional sociologist to conduct a good interview. But yeah, I think it's the better that the average shelter, and people understand this difference. Sometimes they like the European furniture. Like many people didn't travel a lot, and then when they have a bathroom from Switzerland or windows from Poland, they, oh, cool. But it was also a weird moment when they got a brand new wooden frame window from Switzerland, because some architect designed, like, the windows which are unique, and the company produced not very accurately. And all of the settings become trash just because production company didn't, I don't know, like, made a mistake for 1 centimeter. So this is a very Swiss story, actually, because if you look at the Google Street View, you will not find the same windows, even from the one bureau. Like, for every building, they designed the new settings of windows. So, and this situation creates this opportunity of this brand new waste, yeah, which is, and when Ukrainians got these windows, they said, oh, why wooden frame, why no plastic? So the aesthetics is a very challenging topic, but...
my question was related to something like, do you know, you probably know Rural Studio from Alabama, and in their books, this is quite unique, because in their books they have photographs of those designed spaces, which are built by the students, and there are excellent photographs of those houses as they are built, and they have this kind of you know, this designer kind of look. And then there are the spaces, the same spaces, which are after 5 years of use, and they are totally different. They are cramped with objects. Some of the designer features are gone. What was a beautiful porch is now fenced and given to the chickens, and so on. And of course, in less extreme, I can imagine that when you just put those nice things, people move in, and those apartments suddenly change because people move in with boxes, and then some of them say, okay, this bed was quite nice, but I will cover it with all kinds of colorful pillows, and then I hang a lot of things on the wall, and so on. Does it happen, or is it?
Yes, of course. very often the rooms are filled with stuff, so you cannot recognize your design. But the design helped people to move in. The design made people to trust architect, that they understand that somebody wants to please them. So it's okay to see that your design changed. And I think that design is a portal to any like other relation. So it doesn't matter. I mean, you need to do new design if you're tired of looking at your rooms, which is that overfilled with stuff. I mean, yeah, I have to add the slides. The ladies that are fashionable, that's like most complicated spaces they have. Just you don't see anything, no lights in the room. You cannot see not just a bed, a wall. Second-hand storage.
Okay, so I think we reached the end. Thank you very much, Nastya, for your time, effort, for wonderful presentation, and all the stories you've shared. And we hope for a mild winter in Ukraine, and swift victory, hopefully, and good luck with the project. Thank you.